everyone. Welcome to Beauty Binge. We are really, really excited today.
So excited.
Yes, we have a guest with us, Brittany.
Hello.
She is a dear friend of mine. However, she is an expert, and that's why she is here. Tell us your expertise. She has a whole list of them, but we specifically brought her in here for a couple of those points. So tell us.
So, hello. Thank you for having me. I am super excited to be here. My name is Brittany, and I am a menstrual coach. I am a sacred sex and pleasure coach.
Yes.
Ooh,
And those are
interesting.
two of my juicy things that I love to talk about. I'm also a nutritionist and a personal trainer and a health and wellness coach. So I have an extensive background in a lot of different courses and certifications. But my two big things are teaching young girls and women about their menstrual cycle and then education around sex and learning the things that turn us on.
I love that. And we
Yes.
just don't have enough conversation about all those issues.
Yes,
So-
and we have a couple EPs that are coming out prior to this one right now on the topic of sex, but we really wanted to get into it deeper because of the importance of the topic that we don't believe is talked about. So let's talk about, and we were talking about many, many things prior to this.
We're not going to fit it all in.
No, we're
It's
not going to fit it all
happening.
in. But what is the absolute root cause of issues with intimacy that we see? What would you say?
I think one of the biggest root causes is communication. It's having that talk
I
with your partner, having the conversation about what turns you on, what doesn't turn you on. We don't talk about sex at all. We don't talk about sex enough with our girlfriends. We don't talk about sex enough with our partners, our friends, our kids. It's not talked about. And I think that is one of the biggest root causes is not having that deep, intimate conversation.
Yeah. No, I would completely agree with that. And we talked about kind of communication within the experience with your partner.
In the relationship.
In the
that you're
relationship, right?
Yeah.
And what you like and what you don't like in those
Right.
kind of conversations. But it really goes a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think it starts with having the conversation with yourself of, okay, what turns you on? What do you like? What don't you like? We all like something. We're all different beings. We all like to do something. And so finding out that and then being able to express that, being vulnerable, having an open conversation, telling your partner, hey, I like foreplay, or I like to have the lights dim because it makes me feel sexy. We don't discuss that, but we don't know that because we don't know if that's what we like. And
Right.
so that is where you start. Once
Okay.
you find out what you like, then it makes it a little bit easier to tell that person what you like.
Yeah.
And that is what we were talking about here is having that intimate partner and going deep with them. And that's just a whole new level of intimacy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about the person I was 15 years ago around this topic compared to who I am today.
Yes.
Those are two vastly different people. And so we really want to target the people who were potentially all of us 15, 20 years ago.
When we didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Because we
Right.
didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't know. We had
No.
a very limited knowledge about sex. And
Right.
there wasn't a healthy platform to go to learn about it.
Right? Are you
Right?
kidding me? Do you think I could go ask my mom about sex? No.
I don't think my kids want to
didn't
either.
have
though.
that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that close of a relationship
Yeah.
with her to be able to go and
Yeah.
say, what is this?
What
What
is
do you
this?
do?
Yeah.
Right? Because I was told my whole life, no.
Yes.
Right.
Don't.
And
don't.
then it's a light switch.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's go time.
And you don't know what to do.
And it's like, all right, let's have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it typically stays that way if you don't communicate. You're just having sex.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing that we talk about. It's just one way of sex. It's just the genitals. It's that is it. But sex is more than just that.
Right.
And that's the conversation. If you were to ask your mom, that would be the conversation that you would have, would be around the birds and the bees. And
It goes
that's
in,
it.
and then
Yep.
you go, and that's
And,
it.
and maybe you have an orgasm, but what's an orgasm? They wouldn't talk about an orgasm. And
Right.
so that's where the level gets it's surface level. We need to go deeper. We need to have the deeper conversations about what sex really is. It's an energetic exchange. It's also more than just the two things coming together. And the 15-year-old woman who I was couldn't tell you that. I knew what sex was one way, and that was it.
Right.
And what you see on the movies, it's just instant. It's going to feel great.
Yep.
There's no work that you have to do.
Nope, it's instant
Boom.
Screaming.
Yes.
It's instant, like, all this screaming, and you're like, oh my gosh.
I
and
know.
then you do, and you're like,
I'm like, wait a second.
I'm like, am I supposed to be screaming right now?
Well,
because I don't feel like it.
Women, it takes
And that's when
longer
you
to be
fake
turned
it.
on.
Right?
Yeah.
That's when the girls start faking. They just start screaming.
Because
Or-
they think that's
or
what
not.
they're supposed to
Mute.
do. Well,
Yeah.
and you have to remember, it takes longer for a woman to get turned on than it does a man.
Right.
We also don't talk about that.
What's a good time frame?
It's about 20 minutes.
Is that like to
Oh,
be
wow,
turned
really?
on
That's
or
to really
Okay.
be turned on.
Okay.
Now, every woman is different. Everybody's is completely different. But most women, to finally get the sensation, to start to get the fluids flowing,
I'd say that
it's
seems
about
about
Yes,
right.
that-
20
I agree
minutes.
with
And
that.
it's
Yep.
about 20
Yeah.
minutes
Yep.
of foreplay.
Okay.
Men, it is different.
Is it instant?
They are turned on
Yeah.
a lot
2
quicker.
seconds.
I mean,
that'd be my guess.
I mean, it depends, but more quicker than women. And of
Yes.
course,
Yeah.
every man is different, and some men it takes longer. Some men, they need the same as a woman to be really intimate, maybe a little
True.
more foreplay.
Yeah, absolutely.
But most women, it's about 20 minutes.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. So if people don't know what they really like, or want to explore more about their sexuality, we were discussing earlier a way that people can do that.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Tell us more.
So there is it's called the erotic blueprint. This is just one way. There are many ways that you can find out what turns you on, but this is a way that you can find the things that are wired in you that will get you to climax, okay? And this was brought by a sexologist. Her name is Jaya. And she, over time, over several decades, as a sexologist, realized that we're all wired differently. Things turn us on. Things can get us excited. And when we can hone in and find out what that is, our sex lives can change. So she came up with this erotic blueprint. So it's kind of like our Clifton Strengths. If you know anything about your strength finders, it's a test that you can take. And it is questions that you would answer. It is like an A, B, and C. And it would be questions of like, what turned you on? And it would have A, B, and C, and you'd click that. And at the very, very end, it will give you a result. And with those results, it comes with the 5 different types. So the very, very first type that she has is like energetic.
Okay.
The next one is sensual, sexual, kink, and shapeshifters.
Okay.
Okay.
And each one of us we have within us, but it's something that is more peaked. So with the energetic, that is the anticipation. That's that excitement of like, oh, he brushed my hair. Is he going to kiss me next? That is the turn on that you get. So it can
Right.
start hours before.
Right.
So if your partner's like, hey, baby, let's go out for a date. If you are an energetic person, the anticipation of what that date may be will get you into it. It will get you so you're turned on. The next one is the sensual. The sense is all of your senses. Heightening your 5 senses. It can be the taste. It can be chocolates. It can be something cold across your lips. It can be the smell, candles, bubble baths.
Okay.
Anything
Showers,
like that. It can be the silky clothes that you wear. That's the turn on for you.
Okay.
These are all sounding good. Let's
Right?
keep going.
Right? Okay. Sexual is exactly what it says. It is the sex. It is the genitals. It is the penetration. It is what you think sex is what sexual is. That's the turn on for you. Then there's the shape shifter. And then there's kink. So kink is going to be the taboo. That is going to be that you hear a lot of. That's the ropes. Those are the dominants. That's the handcuffs. That is the kink. That there's many different kinks that you can have, but that's the main thing is the taboo that you have. And then the shapeshifter. The shapeshifter can do all of those. They can be with their partner and they can transform into something else. Now, we all have this in us. It's just what really something that you do in the bedroom. And how you can find this out is by taking the test. But it also is putting yourself in each one of those.
Interesting.
So when you're intimate with your partner, do you like your senses heightened?
Okay.
Do you like the anticipation? Because your brain's going to tell you something, but your body's going to tell you another thing. So it really is living out each one of them and experiencing them and be like, yes, this does turn me on. I like this. I like handcuffs. I like blindfolds.
Right.
Or
trying all the things.
Trying all the things.
Yep.
Because a test is a test, but really living it is really going to hone in on your experience. Right. And then to take your intimacy to a whole new level is learning what your partner or partners are.
Right.
And in giving them what they are looking for. So if your partner is a shapeshifter, then molding into what they are in that mood. So if they have got the candles lit, then they're in their sensual mood. So they're heightening their five senses. So then helping them heighten their sense. So
and that can be fun.
Yes.
To discover and do together.
Sex is fun. Sex should be fun.
Absolutely.
And that is the other thing that we don't communicate is sex is fun and it should be fun.
And it should be comfortable.
Yes.
Right?
And enjoyable.
Yes.
Because this is a very intimate act, very vulnerable. You are in a very vulnerable position with someone.
Right.
So it should be fun. You should laugh. You should giggle.
Right.
There are going to be moments that happen. And so when you can be so connected with someone and so connected with your body and knowing that, that's what makes intimacy fun. That's what makes sex fun. That's what makes it enjoyable. And that's what will make you want it more.
Right.
And I think that's more of a roadblock for women. Would you say that they're
is.
not having fun?
Yeah.
Because it seems like it's very easy for the man to have fun, but it's a lot more work as women and going back to just not having that knowledge.
But imagine, when you have the knowledge, when you know what turns you on, then it can be fun. And that's our responsibility to figure out, like we talked about in the past, right?
Yeah.
Like all of this is our responsibility to figure out.
It is.
Right. And I remember that a time where my mindset, it just was, I didn't have a positive mindset around intimacy and sex.
Yes.
And I almost had to reframe the way I saw it in my mind to be like a hobby.
Yeah.
Right? Like sex isn't sex. Yeah. Sex isn't a chore. It's not something that has to be done.
Yes.
This can be a hobby.
Yes.
This can be go and play for an hour and potentially not climax. And then go and do your thing and then come back to it.
Good workout.
Yes.
Right? A good workout. Like this can be like a fun, explorative hobby. Let's just go have fun for a while. And fool around. Neither of us have to see it as something where we need to climax. And then just enjoy it more, right? And so that really, really helped me when I was struggling with it. I just had to reframe the way I viewed the act.
There's a lot of, it sounds like there's a lot of pressure, right? Like pressure
There
to
is a lot of
perform,
pressure.
pressure to have an orgasm, pressure, all this look good, feel good.
Right, exactly.
And that, I think, comes from a lot of the conditioning that we have and the lack of communication and the lack of education that we have around sex. And I'm not even talking with our youth, but I'm talking as adults. We have lack of education when it comes to that. So when you're missing that, then you're not able to explore anything. You only do the one thing. You do, and that's opening your mind to the exploration of so much more that sex can be. It can be a fun game. That's all it has to be.
Right, exactly.
It can just be fun. Right. And instead we are taught that you have to have sex and it has to feel good and it has to orgasm and you have to do this. And if you don't, something's wrong. Something's wrong.
And you have to do it for your man.
Yes.
Because he needs it. Yeah. You need to do it for him.
Yep. Instead of doing it for yourself.
Right. And this is where we need to talk.
Yeah. Yes.
To our partners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? And tell them our needs.
Yes.
In this scenario.
Yes.
And there's a few different steps for that communication, right? Yeah. It's like before, during, and after.
Yeah. Yes.
That you need to be having those conversations.
Yes.
Right.
And I loved when you said multiple conversations. It's not just one conversation because you can be in the middle of having sex and something can come up and you can be like, you know what, that actually doesn't feel good. Or that, you know what, I'm not enjoying that anymore like I was. It was enjoyable, but it's not anymore. Right? And being able to communicate that to a partner. It doesn't even have to be a husband. It doesn't have to be someone you've been with. It can be a one-night stand. But being able to have that and just being like, you know what? And turning it. We don't know how to do that.
Right.
We don't know how to do that. We barely know how to say, let's have sex. And what kind of sex do you want to have? Do you want to just have rough sex? Do you want to have love making? We don't even talk about any of these.
Because there's different.
I don't think I've ever. Let's have sex.
I totally have.
You never said that?
You've never said that?
Well, I mean, yes, you have.
I mean, sure, I guess I have. Probably someone out there is like, yeah, you have.
Yes, you have. Yes, she has. There's one person out there.
That is so good. You know what? Now that I just said that out loud, I think we need to dive. Ooh, I have a hair. We need to dive further into that, okay?
Yeah.
Because saying that out loud could make it come across as I've had like multiple partners. Okay? So, what is the like view around that? You know what I mean? It's almost like if we're sitting here talking about sex, it could come across as these girls are sleeping with a whole bunch of people, right?
And see, that's
wrong.
That's the problem
bad.
That we have,
Yes.
Right?
Is that's what society has put around. We're talking about sex, which now is labeling you as something, and that's not accurate.
Right.
That is the stigma that we have around sex. That's the problem with it right now. Is the communication we have is this type of communication that if you have too many partners, then you're labeled as this.
Right.
Or if you're enjoying it this, then you're labeled as this.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not true because sex is enjoyable and it should be. Right. And getting to this point of having that. And we talk about it. So,
and we touched on this a little bit, but that's how our bodies are made.
Yeah.
It's meant to be enjoyable.
Yes.
Meant to be fun.
Yes.
Right.
You got to have that knowledge. You got to know
exactly.
yourself, know your body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another thing that we were talking about prior to coming on here, which this is kind of jumping ship, but I want to talk about it. Well, maybe we shouldn't talk about that one.
Which one?
No, I'm like,
spit it out. It sounds juicy. Let's go.
There's so many things we've talked about. Do you want to talk about how we're just meant to be with one person at a time?
Yeah. So,
like, what did you hear?
I'm still learning things.
Okay,
you guys. I'm 40 years old. I continue to learn more and more about sex, my body.
Yeah.
And so I just learned this, but women are meant to have one partner at a time, physically. Okay. So what I learned, I hope it's correct, but it sounded correct, was when you have multiple partners, it can actually throw off your pH balance.
Okay, in your body.
We were talking about that with.
Yep.
Can we say sperm?
Yeah.
Fluids.
If not, they can fluids. Bleep it out.
Right?
Yeah. Fluids.
Yes. Exchange of fluids.
The exchange of fluids. There you can have a reaction to the exchange of fluids. Like that is a true possibility. We also had the conversation of fluids can change in taste and smell based off of what you eat. So it does make sense when you talk about that of having the partner and one partner, how your body can react, because it is a foreign object. It is a foreign fluid coming inside. And so when that, your body can react, and your body can be telling you, hey, this is not for me. This, I don't want this, and don't do this, and listen. Right. And also another thing is during your cycle, your menstrual cycle, your vaginal canal, there are different pH balances that are happening because different hormones are going through your body. So that is another case that can happen that can cause issues when you're having sex with partners and with the fluid exchange.
Yeah.
So
there's so much to learn. Like this has to be a series. It's got to be like a 7-part series.
I don't even know.
So where just to kind of wrap it up, where would be a good place for women to go to start getting this knowledge or further their education if they feel like they have a lot of knowledge?
So a couple of different places. The first thing, if you want to know your erotic blueprint, that is what your wiring of what turns you on. You can go take the test, and it's called MissJaya.com, and you can go on there and you can take the test, and it will tell you, and then it will give you kind of steps on how to bring that into the bedroom, how to take what you learn into the bedroom. They can go onto my handle. I do a lot about menstrual cycle, a lot about hormones and about nutrition and things like that, which is lovingyourluna.brit. And there are tons of resources. There's Dr. Jolie Bright, which is for women. She's got a couple different books out there. That's a great first dive for women is to go find out yourself. Go figure out what turns you on, and the best knowledge and information is your own self. Right. Go into the shower and enjoy and rub yourself. See if you enjoy that. If you enjoy putting soap on your body, lotion on your body, start there. That is my huge thing, is know what turns you on, what you like. Right. Then go into the next education of what your partner wants and how to communicate that. So,
and I think once you know, it's so much easier to go and talk to your partner. Yeah. Because right? Yeah. Knowledge is power.
It is true.
Always. And another good thing to talk about, we'll need to have you come back, because I think knowing your menstrual cycle and about that is actually really important.
It is. And it goes along with sex too.
Yeah, it's not something that I was ever taught to like at a deeper level. Yeah. And it's actually so important to understand, because are you guys a little more turned on during?
Yeah, there's certain times for sure.
There are certain times.
I mean, let's get real.
And knowing that.
Yeah, we are. And knowing that is.
Yeah, and knowing those peaks in your body, and when to intensify them, and when it's that time of the month when you are turned on.
Yeah.
So.
Right, exactly. And then to enjoy it.
Yes.
Together.
Sex is enjoyable.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Yay. All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and put all of the links below that Brittany just told you about, so you can easily and effortlessly find everything you need to make your life better.
Yes.